Peoples of the worldwide federated internet. What's good? I don't think I've ever seen a point of more division amongst people I know, friends, the country, co-workers who are on different sides of issues, people within organizations on different sides of issues. Well, I would say the industry that I work in, I think more of us are in line as far as the way we think toward a lot of these issues than not. I'm sure everybody has seen or knows about the Southwest airline debacle this weekend. Now, from what they were saying, it was weather. Of course, nobody really believes that. What exactly is going on, whether it's a coordinated strike or whether it is just a bunch of employees individually saying, "Nah, that's it. We're not doing this no more." Who knows? I don't really know which one of those options it is. I honestly don't. I am very alarmed by what I see, not at what's going on from a government level, so to speak, and not necessarily what's going on from an employee level per se, although I'm kind of baffled and astonished how most people don't realize we don't like something. If the people who don't like something, which the majority of people I see don't like what's going on. And here's the thing. This is not about some weird, crazy conspiracy theory about the vaccine. Whatever you believe about the vaccine, even saying vaccine will probably get this video deleted and banned. Whatever you believe about this vaccine, whatever you think about this vaccine, the fact that people are on board with forcing someone else to take something that they don't want, some medication they don't want, and put it into their bodies, it's kind of astonishing because these same people argue when it comes to abortion, my body, my choice. Now, I don't think abortion is the same issue as this personally. And logically, I don't think it's the same issue. I just don't. But the fact that you would argue your body, your choice when it comes to abortion, but somehow now, all of a sudden, it's not my body and it's not my choice is an oxymoron. That doesn't make sense. You are arguing for an issue and against an issue at the same time, and that doesn't make sense in your own logic. Like I said, I don't believe abortion is the same issue as what we have going on now with the vaccine mandates. I'll tell you the bigger issue I have. Okay, so let's get into the nitty gritty, right? Let's take these CEOs of companies. Some of these companies are publicly held and they have shareholders, and I understand that. You run into a whole, unique and different dynamic when you have that. But let's take these companies where you have a CEO, somebody who owns this company, and this company is not public. Now, let's say this CEO is rich. You're well off. You're paid. You don't have to work another day in your life. The fact that these CEOs would cower to an unconstitutional mandate, it's really an inhumane mandate, because you're telling somebody, I'm going to force you to inject this thing in your body that you don't want. This has nothing to do with criticizing the vaccine to cause vaccine hesitancy. You have to say things like this because of the new rules and guidelines on most of these social media platforms. I am not criticizing or injecting some conspiracy about what the vaccine does or doesn't do. I'm not a virologist. I'm not a biology major. I don't understand the human immune system like some of these people who have doctorates and high level degrees that have studied this for years. I'm not putting myself in that boat. And I'm not saying that this is the angle I'm coming from. I don't know enough about this thing. I don't understand vaccines enough to give some kind of opinion on whether I think, spike proteins this or blood clotting, but I don't know any of that stuff. Not that I haven't looked into that stuff, because I have. What I'm saying is I'm not an expert. I cannot give you an expert opinion on that. But I'll tell you what I can give you an opinion on. I've been a free man for 42 years. This is the first time in my entire life that I actually thought my freedom is literally in jeopardy. You might disagree with that. You might think I'm being hyperbolic. 15 days to slow the spread was 2 years ago. And I'm going to tell you, this is not about what political tribe you're from. I don't care if you voted for Trump. I don't care if you didn't vote for Trump. I don't care if you voted for Biden against Trump, if you voted for Trump against Biden. I don't care about none of that right now. None of that matters, and all of that is irrelevant. What you have is a group of people in Washington telling you you do not even have autonomy over your own body. Now, again, I will reiterate, the issue of abortion is not the same as this. It is a completely separate argument. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole and that rabbit trail, because it would lead somewhere else. It would lead into a whole nother group of issues, and that's not really what I want to deal with today. But for people to literally believe in bodily autonomy and also hold the opinion that you should be forced to take a vaccine or lose your job, your livelihood, in effect, what you're saying is, if you don't get this vaccine, and here's what's funny, I'm gonna try to rein myself in, because as I talk about this, I'm really ticked off. I'm really pissed off. I will more than likely lose my job here in a few weeks over this thing. Why, might you ask? Why would you jeopardize your livelihood and your ability to provide for your kids? Because I really believe, truly and deeply in my heart of hearts, this is one of the most immoral, wicked, and unconstitutional things I've ever seen pushed in this country. For a company to tell me, now, for a company to be able to tell me, take this thing in your body or you won't work, you won't be able to provide, you can't come in this restaurant, you can't do this, you can't live. We would rather you starve than have the freedom to choose what goes in your own body. That's what they're saying. Now, my grandfather passed away 3 years ago, I believe. Might have been 2 years ago. I think it's 3 years ago. He was, I believe, 96 years old. If I am not mistaken, I believe my grandfather's father, so my great-grandfather, was born a slave. I'm pretty confident in that. I could be mistaken. At a bare minimum, my great-great-grandfather was a slave. That's not too many generations behind. What my government is now telling me is I am returning back to slavery, because obviously that's my rightful place. You might think that's hyperbolic, and you might think that this doesn't make sense to you. And you may think that, oh no, nobody's forcing you to get this. It's your choice. If the entire system is telling you I don't own a farm. I don't own a company. Right? And I will say, this situation is making me reevaluate my entire life. And my desire to be in the corporate structure of the globe, not just America, my desire to be in a corporate structure has completely waned. if I can figure out a way through all of this to make money outside of any corporation, I will never work for another company again. I can promise you that if I can figure out a way. That is my goal. That is everything that I've been looking into from this point. And one of the reasonings for this is they have effectively shown all of us that we are slaves, because at any moment they can cut off the money supply and tell you, nah, you can't get this job. Nah, you're not going to make this money. Nah, you're not going to be able to come in this restaurant and eat. Nah, you can't come in this grocery store and buy anything until you get this medical product that we told you you have to have. If the government can force you to take a vaccine, if a company can force you to take a vaccine, because as it stands, there's really no government mandate, technically, per se. The Biden administration, he came out and he said this is what he's going to push, through OSHA. How exactly he's going to do that, that's a whole nother video for a whole nother day. But nothing officially has come out of that yet, as far as I know. Now, people have been saying this the past, couple days, but I talked with someone about this a few weeks ago, and I said the same exact thing, that nothing official has actually come out yet. And a lot of these companies are jumping the gun and forcing their employees to either get this vaccine or lose their means to provide for themselves. And this is not, I'm not talking about people trying to be rich. I'm talking about normal people just working regular jobs being told you will take this thing or you will not work in this industry ever again. This is going to be a bold statement. I'm not a revolutionary. I am not an anarchist. I do not hold those views. I'm a Bible believer. That is my stance. But I'm at the point, and the reason I'm adding all these caveats is because I don't want anybody to get the false impression that I'm talking tough talk. I'm not talking tough talk. It is more scary for me to give in to looming tyranny than it is to starve. Look, starving is I don't want to go through that. But if I had to choose between going hungry and living under tyranny, I think I'd choose hunger if I'm free. I have the opportunity to figure something out as a free man. As a subject, a slave under a tyrant, I have no opportunity to ever figure a way to get from under that boot outside of shedding blood, and I don't want to go down that path. That's not a path that I believe is biblical. And that's definitely not a path that I should seek. The Bible tells me to seek peace with all men and ensue it. The Bible also instructs me, if it be at all possible, live peaceably with all men. And that's what I want to do. I don't blame anybody for taking the vaccine because they feel like, they have to do this to provide for their family. I'm not one of these people that's going to demonize people for doing that, because I understand the immense pressure. This has been probably one of the most stressful times in my entire life. I have been in the field that I'm in, just in the technical field in general, for 22 years. I've devoted 22 years of my life to what I do. And that is all going to go away with a blink of an eye in a few weeks, more than likely. I'm a little nervous, but I'll be honest with you. Now, my faith is not a blind faith where I just, I trust that something is going to work out like pie in the sky rainbow. No, it's not that. I just trust that no matter what falls out of this whole thing, I will not give to tyranny. And I know you hear a lot of people say that, and it seems really hyperbolic. And I know some of my friends who may see this video, who may hear this, may think to themselves, you bugging, ain't no tyrant. This is for safety. Just take the vaccine. Look, man, I've come to the point in my life that I don't care what you tell me. I don't care what the cause. I don't care what the purpose. I am not willing to concede any of my rights for any reason whatsoever. And the Bible makes a statement. Again, not all my friends are Bible believers, because I'm going to post this video to many of my different platforms, and I may get pages deleted off of this. And not everybody's a Bible believer, and I understand that. So my comments about the Bible, if you don't believe it, just let it blow over your head. I understand. The Bible says something about believers, right? It instructs us not to use our liberty as a cloak of maliciousness. This is not an effort for me to exercise freedom just for the sake of being able to do whatever I want to do. This is literally something that has gone through my mind a lot, like a lot. I've thought about this a lot. If I concede to this, what's next? And then what's after that? And then what's after that? It went from 15 days to slow the spread. Just shut your business down for 15 days. At first they were asking, right? It really wasn't, nobody was being forced. It was like, hey, we're all in this together. 15 days. Let's just shut down to slow the spread. Turned into a couple months. Then it was, just wear a mask. We're all in this together. To now you have to wear a mask to come into these businesses. Then it went to, well, we got a vaccine coming out, and it'd be a good idea for, people who can get this vaccine. It's safe, it's effective, we need to get it. And people had hesitations. They were like, it's not FDA approved, as if the FDA actually cares about your health. That's another argument for another day. So people are like, I'm going to wait. I don't know. Then the FDA approval was pushed through, and now it's get this vaccine or you can't work. Do you see how quickly that went? Do you see how fast that spiral got out of control? At that point, if you're not paying attention, because I know, I'm going to post this to my Facebook page, and I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. I can think of names, people I know, friends that I have. I appreciate you. I don't dislike any of my friends, but I know there's going to be some people, if they don't post a message under this going at me, they're going to want to. Oh, you're crazy. Just get the vaccine. This is for safety. Yo, this is no longer about safety. I'm going to tell you when you should have realized this was no longer about safety. When you have people who work remote jobs, they don't see anyone. They don't have to interact with anyone. And they're telling them, companies are telling them, yo, you got to get this vaccine or we're going to have to fire you. We're going to have to let you go. Do you realize how pointless that is? That doesn't make any sense. If it's about safety, why are you requiring this person that doesn't have to interact with anyone get this vaccine? You never even have to see this person. And then what further goes into that is we're treating everyone who doesn't have the vaccine now like they have a plague. Like if you don't have the vaccine, you're automatically sick, as if only vaccinated people can catch this virus. We know by this point that's not true. Again, I am not a virologist. This post is not about vaccine hesitancy. This post is not about some conspiracy of what the vaccine's going to do to your blood. All of those arguments at this point is irrelevant. This post is 100% about freedom. Am I a free man or am I a slave? Am I a citizen of the United States of America or am I a subject to the federal government? Which one is it? Because the last time I checked, this was a free country. Maybe it's not anymore. And my fear is if too many of us give into this government overreach now, what freedoms will our children and grandchildren never know? The problem is, I'm gonna quote this again. This is not my quote. I did not come up with this. I heard this on another podcast who I believe quoted somebody else. You cannot comply your way out of tyranny. No matter how much you comply, the tyranny will not stop. You will freely go into tyranny, but the only way out of tyranny is through bloodshed. Unless you don't give in beforehand. This is the issue. Everybody's giving in. Everybody believes that they have to give in. Everybody believes that if they don't give in, man, I gotta work. I gotta feed my kids. I wonder if people in countries like, trying to think of a communist regime of the past. I wonder if people in countries like North Korea thought to themselves when Kim Jong-il was first taken over, when that push for communism first started. I wonder if they thought, well, I gotta, I have to do this because I have to feed my kids. People are starving in North Korea right now. That's what totalitarianism has led to. People are starving. And I'm sure there were many well-meaning people that said to themselves, well, I got to do this because, just going to do this. We got to feed our kids. We got to make sure our kids are taken care of. Well, now their kids are not taken care of. If you don't know what's going on in North Korea, you probably should look into that. You probably should look into that history. Now, for all, the people who have all these theories about why it happened, all of those things are irrelevant. The main point is totalitarian regimes never freely give up control. Never. You've never seen that anywhere in history. You cannot point out one example where a totalitarian regime just decided, you know what? We're going to give the people their rights back. The thing about this is we're in uncharted territory. The United States is a very unique country in the way we were formed in our form of government. We've never been through a testing like this, and I don't know where this leads, but I know one thing. As I said, I cannot give to this. I would love to be able to tell you that, yeah, this is not really a big deal. I think this is a big deal. I think this is a huge deal. Look, I don't really care, again, about the left-right political thing. I don't want to get into that. But when Joe Biden came out and said that this is not about freedom, this is about safety. No, everything we do in the United States is about freedom. That was the whole point. The whole point of the Revolutionary War. Again, don't come at me with the America's evil and all that. All of those arguments are irrelevant. They're irrelevant. We are, or we claim to be, a free country. Whether our past was evil or not, whether we do evil things now or not, that's irrelevant to this argument. If we're not a free country, God help us for what comes next. Because I'm telling you right now, what comes next, if we don't get it together, I'm not looking forward to. Y'all know what it is. Stay frosty, people.